Knowing. So what is knowing? Well, knowing is basically coming to a point where there's no thoughts really arising describing the scenario that's in front of you, what's actually happening. Because you can, something in you, that the very thing that's in you, that's in all of us, that spirit, that awareness, it knows. It knows. But it knows without thinking. So this is knowing. The universe knows. It just knows. And we're a part of that. So the ego will create a distraction, which for most people is a distraction because there's such an absorbed fascination with the personality that people become sidetracked and they live in that realm, the egoic realm. And when you come back to knowing, or when you reside in knowing, there'll be no thoughts jumping out. There'll be no labels coming up. You look around at everything and these labels, and what I mean by labels is you look at the guitar and the thought will come up, guitar. See, it labels that. As soon as you fix your gaze, your attention, your eyes onto an object out here, then the label comes up within the mind and it says guitar. Now, we already know it's a guitar because at some point in our lives we have learnt the word guitar. We've asked as a child or as an adult or whenever. You may have seen it on TV. We see it, what's that, Mum? What's that, Dad? That's a guitar. Oh, guitar. Guitar, that's a guitar. So we create this. However, just like when we first began riding a push bike, we have to participate, consciously participate in the activity and focus on what we're doing until it becomes a natural thing. And we know, then we know that we can ride a push bike or drive a car or do anything. We know that because we've all experienced it. Everyone experiences a time when there might be some fear or a time when you need to focus on the activity that you're performing, driving a car, anything like that. There might be some fear, some hesitation. For some people there might not be anything, perhaps there might be excitement. You know, all this type of stuff can come up. But again, they're all just labels. That's all just stories about what's already going on. And what's going on? Ask yourself what's going on. In order to find out what's going on, you don't really need to ask yourself, because all you need to do is look, listen. You know, listen, but listen without the label of what's going on. We smell things. You smell, and again, there is a label. There is an association. There's a label that's being created. That's the smell of wood smoke. Sure, that's the smell of wood smoke, but we don't need that thought to tell us that, because once we already know that it is wood smoke, we know that it is wood smoke. Or we know that it is the smell of whatever it may be. The smell of flowers. We know that smell. It's really only in conversation with other people where we need to we need to use those labels because we've come together as a society on this planet on a global level, and we've needed to interact with one another. Therefore, language comes. Language is medium for interacting with other people. You know, it is said back long time ago, there was no language. People just intuitively knew what they were talking about. And then language was actually created amongst certain tribes so they could come to a meeting and they would be talking not intuition anymore, not ESP kind of thing, but it's more they were actually talking like this. And certain tribes couldn't understand, so they were conspiring against one another to take out the other tribes. So this is a little bit of where the story that I heard of, you know, the first kind of happenings of ego, I guess, building up of the small mind, the ego, the guest. And in knowing, once we get better at looking at objects without labeling them, that can bring us to a good place, more to a place of knowing, more to a place of peace, of harmony. But then there's the internal stuff that comes up. And there can be a lot of this because there can be a lot of suppression of anger, of joy even, of sadness, of anything like this. And all kind of thoughts will come up, you know, all kinds of things, greed, lust, anger, hatred, all of these type of things will come up. But again, they come up and take you out of the knowing. You know that there's, you know, you're aware that there's an angry thought within your mind. It's coming up. It's within that, and it ripples the stillness. However, it's okay. It's okay because just like the clouds in the sky, they are not the sky. They're impermanent. They're always changing shape, changing form. And when you sit in that place of knowing, then you become aware of this. Inexplicably, you can't not, because one sits and observes, and this can be done throughout the entire day. You don't just need to be sitting. Throughout the entire day, you can be practicing meditation, watching the mind. Everything you're doing, you will still be doing. You won't not be doing it. However, you'll be watching the mind a bit more than you were previously, I suppose. You keep watching the mind, you watch the mind, and you'll get really, really good at that. And you get to a point where you won't even be watching the mind. You just start to be more in knowing, be more in stillness, observing what's actually happening, observing what actually is. Because that's the truth. That's the truth.